Right, hello again. This is the third video of the flies that we tied on Thursday night. This is the standard Muddler Minnow. It's obviously a pattern originating from America. It's to imitate the scalp in larger sizes, but it sort of found popularity in this country. So it's for those of you that want to have a go with tying deer hair, this is not a bad pattern to start off with. Right, the hook I'm using is a fulling mill. This is a easy eye nugget special. I think it's designed for gold heads, but it's a nice length of shank, quite a strong hook. Its only downside, it's got the eye in the horizontal position, but shouldn't really cause too much problem. So I've got some brown thread here. This is ATO Ultra UTC, and again, because the material is a little bit slippy, the thread's a little bit slippy, just a little bit of super glue on the shank to bind it down so it doesn't slip. And we do a foundation thread right the way down to the start of the bend, and just remove any excess super glue. And the wing and tail are all from the same material. I think the original material was oak turkey. This is not a bad substitute, which is a hen pheasant centre tail. And we just take a small slip from either side of the feather, so you don't have to worry about matching left and right, and then placing the two tips side by side. So we have two slips which we offer up to the shank. It's about the length of the body, or just slightly shorter, because this is a long shank. Put it in position, pinch the material, bring the loop up and straight down. Do that twice, and then that will tell you whether you've tied it on top of the shank. That's tied on top of the shank. Unfortunately, these fibres split out, and not a lot we can do about that, but they would, even if you tied them in perfectly by the time you started fishing with it, they would be all over the place. So I'm going to just bind those down to keep the body reasonably flat, and just trim off the waist, and then take the thread right the way back to the start of the tail, and we're going to catch in some, this is gold, extra small actually, gold tinsel, oval tinsel. So this is a rib over the gold flat tinsel, which is going to go in, so that gets trapped in first. And then this is uni mylar, double-sided, gold one side, silver the other. And I'll just strip a length off. And just cut a slight point on it. which gets tied in up that position, and then bind all those fibres down and keep going to about just over 2/3. We need to allow for a bit of a wing and then obviously the deer hair, so it's about 2/3. Right, again, touch of super glue just to hold the mylar in place. That's getting a bit thick, so just get rid of a bit of that. And then we're winding the gold. So wind the gold over the super glue, and we're wrapping it over 50% of the previous turn, so you're giving yourself a gold body that should be reasonably robust and shouldn't undo. So 3 turns to tie that off, and then trim away the waste, and then gold wire ribbing over the top. Take it, this was giving it a little bit of extra security on the original pattern before people were using super glue. So again, 3 turns to tie that off, and then we need to put a wing in. So that's same materials, slip from either side, slightly wider than the tail. And then tips to tip. So going to tie them swept up slightly, just a wee bit shorter than the tail. Pinch in position and pull down, pinch, pull down, and just check. That's not too bad. So I'm going to come forward. You never go back on yourself, because obviously if you set the wing, then it's going to destroy your setting, and then we can trim the excess. And what we're left to do now is the tying of the deer hair. And the important thing is with this is that we have a good clean foundation. It doesn't necessarily have to be flat, but it has to be sort of reasonably straight. It can be tapered, but you don't want too many steps in it. So I'm using roe deer. So the principles here are: we take a bunch which would be about 6mm diameter, 5mm, 6mm diameter, trim it close to the pelt, and then that's the clump that we've taken off. We just need to remove any under fur. This is the important bit because you won't find it will spin unless you've got that all clean. And the first bunch that we're going to tie, we want all the tips to act as like a veil of around the wing. So we need to put it in our stacker. Tips first. And then tap. And then just check that all the wing tips are in line. Any odd fibres you can pull out at this stage. So we offer those up, so our collar wants to be about half the size of the wing, half the length of the wing. So we're offering up to that position. And then we're taking 1, 2, and as your third turn, start to pull, and the deer hair then splays and goes round the shank. And then we take 2 or 3 turns through the deer hair, and then we want to be pushing it back with the end of a dubbing needle, or in this case it's a threader. Just get the hole at the end and just push that back. Don't be too brutal because obviously it'll damage the wing, but just to get all those fibres back, and then we can put a couple of locking turns in front of the deer hair there. And then we want another bunch, perhaps not quite as big as the previous one, but again cutting off the pelt and removing the underfur. And we take a similar technique, 1, 2 turns, and on the third one pull, and then it splays round, and then take a couple of locking turns through it before finally pulling all the fibres back, so you just got the eye visible, and then tie it off and put a little bit of varnish on the thread. So, whip finish, just going to pull those fibres out of the way. Try not to trap too many, 3 or 4 turns, and locked off. Don't worry too much about trapping the fibres, because now you've got the messy job of trimming. And I've got a pair of scissors here that are designed for trimming deer hair. They've got a very slight serration. I don't know if it picks it up on the camera. So I'm just going to roughly cut around to get the worst of it off. But you must be careful that you don't cut those fibres that you created for your ruff. So we're just pulling the longer fibres away and trimming those. You will nick a few of the rough, but try and avoid it if you can. This is the painstaking part. So basically you're looking to trim all of the thicker stalks out, trying to keep some sort of shape on that head. This can take you as long as the rest of the fly takes to construct, to do this properly. Just tidy it up to put some sort of shape in it, and you can put a bullet shape on this or put a flat front on it to push the water. This generally is fished when the fish are in the chasing mood, and you just whip it through the surface film, and the deer hair is obviously buoyant and moves the water. If you pull it quickly, then the fly will pop, just making it quite attractive to the trout. Come and have a look, and if they're in the right mood, they'll take it. So as I say, you can spend up to the ages getting the head up how you want it. That will do. There we have the Muddler Minnow. That's all now. Well, the next video will be the Daddy Longlegs Muddler. See you in the next video.